I maintain that Eden of the East is probably one of the coolest titles in the 2000s of any medium. There's something very mystique and solid of that epithet that grants it a hyperbolic image of a paradise in a wayward place. The truth is, however, Eden of the East is really only okay. It has so much going for it, yet it falls short to the illusioned idea of importance hidden in tepid writing. Now, does this mean it's bad? Not necessarily, but there's a limiting asterisk to that answer. A few months after a terrorist attack in Japan, a college graduate, Saki, goes on a trip to the United States where she encounters a naked man in front of the White House. The amnesiac man, who goes by Akira from a counterfeit passport, goes back to Japan with Saki where another attack happens soon after. Now wrapped in a conspiratorial plot, Akira finds that he's in possession of 8 billion yen's worth of crypto in exchange for his cooperation to use the money to save Japan, whatever that means. And if he or others like him fail, they'll be eliminated. How will Akira overcome this odd turn of events, and where does Saki in her innocence fall amidst the chaos of money and social justice? By all means, I should like this show. It has a decent mystery, a good sense of tension, somewhat good characters, and a vibrant and unique style. In addition to all of that, I do believe they were trying to make something of impact, noticeable in this animation and direction. But even when I first saw this show many years ago, I couldn't get 100% into it, and I couldn't quite nail down why. If it had all of these factors that are at least at an acceptable level, then it should be worth recommending. And it kind of is, but there's an asterisk to take note of in that recommendation. But first, let's start with the good. For one thing, the story structure is very similar to the Battle Royale setup, the last man standing through any means necessary model. It's a fairly popular genre in anime today, and to give Eden of the East credit, this one may be one of the better follow-throughs of the format, in that it's very slow and calculating, and is more of a test of smarts and perseverance rather than one of brawn and power. Plus, admittedly, I am kind of a sucker for Battle Royale anime. Even terrible ones I find somewhat entertaining, so take that for what you will. Next, the message is actually a pretty good one for this type of story. How they tell it to you is about a Celtalizer break through a glass window at a police station, but I'll get to that. Without directly spoiling it, though it honestly doesn't take long for them to spell it out themselves, it's about the opportunities and moral obligations of the lucky few. In the uncertain climate of the world, where terrorists could attack for example, do you hunker down to provide for yourself, your family, or those in need? Or is the roulette of the world a wheel of fortune too fickle to let one's dreams and wants slip away? It's a query that kept me thinking through the show's runtime, and I think it's personally a fascinating debate to have with oneself or others with the social construct we're aware of today. And then there's the original opening. The song is Falling Down by Oasis, and say what you will about the band or the Gallaghers, but it is a good song with the right tempo and atmosphere for this show. However, with how copyright and licensing works, it's not always included in the show's numerous sources, like the Funimation release. But after those positives, it's a curvy downhill. The longest slope downward is the writing. The writing is so dull and so middling, it's not only devoid of the necessary amounts of suspense needed to tell the story, it fills in those necessities with point-blank bland, point A to B to C prose. The intrigue is felt at the bare minimum at some of the most pivotal times, and the comedy is inane, barren anime cliches and reactions. Most of the characters are fine, but they just don't have much to work with. It's usually just character A and B talk about how to do or interpret something, then next scene. What really annoys me though is when they do try to discuss something of unique substance, it's drowned in an air of importance. Like the writers took a philosophy 101 and creative writing class simultaneously. It just leads to clunky dialogue and a halfway lost message. I say halfway because they do actually cram the message pretty consistently in your face. If anything, it's pretty much every episode, and while it's cool the first few times, it becomes oversaturated and intrusive by episode 5, which is a shame because it is a good message. I can actually say that about a good portion of the show. The 3D aspects of the anime are horrendous, which is a shame because the hand-drawn bits are quite nice. The comedy is lame and cringy, which is a shame because the romance isn't that bad. The show's pretty subpar all things considered, which is a shame because the title's freaking dope as fuck. What I'm trying to get at is that Eden of the East is a show that does a lot of smaller things decently, but fewer but more substantial things poorly. The writing's a hot mess of overcomplicated muses of writers trying too hard, the balance of the art's jumbled, and the well-thought theme is lost in the sea of stilted style and overexposure. I know that a ton of people have fond memories of this show, and I get it, but I just don't think it's the paradise people remember it to be. And if you disagree with me, you're really not gonna like my next review. That being said, it's not bad. I liked it enough to watch it a few more times over the years, and hey, maybe I'm the one missing something. So if you want to watch it and prove how wrong I am, that's not the worst Noblesse Oblige to follow up on.